Welcome, everyone, to the Games Talk Live podcast. This is episode number 102. I've got a couple of great guests for you today. It's a couple of great guests because I was on your show, I think, about a month or so ago, and I had a great time with you guys. Did a little game with you guys and everything. Was a champion for 9 weeks, and then Rand had to come along and beat me. That a-hole. Anyways, I love Rand. If anybody was going to beat me out there, I would have picked Rand too. He's a very smart guy, very quick. So, Rand, congrats.
You held it down for so long, though.
Yeah.
It was a flex.
For sure.
Yeah, like, that was wild.
How long King had it. So King had it for 8 weeks. You outdid him by a week. So you were champion for longer than King was. So
and then now you got Rand, which I don't think it's going to be hard to beat 20 because even no matter how fast you say those questions and how fast Rand answer or anybody answers, I don't think you could possibly get 21. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it would be.
So we did a trial before we did this show, like before we did even the first show, just between us, like just seeing like if we're just doing it, how much. And I believe Doodles got the most and she did 25.
Really? Good job.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. So there's still when you watch it, there's still a little room where he hesitated a little bit. It's just that if you go to think, for a bit, you can.
It really can't be any thought involved. Like it has to be.
You just have to be
hear
quick.
it and instant answer.
Yeah, it's just instinct. It's just whatever the first thought in your mind, you just rock.
You know what's funny? You didn't think you would do well.
No, I didn't. I usually am not good on the spot. I didn't do well in your other show that you had with us where we were doing video game questions and stuff. That stuff, it gets tough for me because it's hard for me to think on my feet when it comes to, past games and whatever, those kind of questions. Which, by the way, I do that on my show. And I will be playing with you guys. Oh, nice. The reason why I haven't done it in a while, people have been asking me for 5 questions back. And that's because I've had multiple guests on at one time. And it's kind of hard to do. You saw that during the game when we were playing over there. You had to call out the name. And some people are like, I said it first. And it's tough. But you two are going to work as a team. So between the two of you, it'll be cool. It'll be fun. And those voices you hear, by the way, are from the YouTube channel OnPoint for Gamers. Right here on YouTube. They've been doing their thing for a while. And I wanted to ask you about that. So OnPoint for Gamers, that YouTube channel, you guys look like you've been around for a little while doing other kind of videos and stuff. What got you to start live streaming?
Live streaming? Well, live streaming is different. Live streaming was
Isn't
just
that
kind
something
of
recent?
Yeah, so basically since essentially July is when we first kind of got involved with it, and it was I've been wanting to do it. I've been like kind of wanting to do it, but we never did it before, so it felt like are we gonna really go live? But what pushed it was I was gonna be on Boom. So once I was gonna be on Boom show, it was like, all right, it's go time. Let's do it. And then once I did it, it's like, all right, then let's just all do it, for our show. So that's really was the kind of purpose to do live streaming at that moment. Like what was the catalyst for it to just say, all right, let's jump in. It's because I was going to be on Boom show. And it's like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, but it was our son's channel. He wanted to start doing videos, and he would make up these stories and he will play them out with amiibos, right? Amiibo characters. So that's how it started. And then he came to us and said, I want to do a podcast. And it took us a bit, but we were like, all right, let's go ahead and start a podcast together. And we just had the phone in the middle of the dining room table.
Bad,
and then, he'll go back and edit the podcast, but then we kind of got started in July to do live, and
nice.
It's been a blast. It's so much easier to just get on the camera and kind of connect with the community.
Yeah.
We didn't know that would even be there, like we didn't have like a community per se, right? We started the podcast just doing a recording of it and then just uploading it like a video. So, you know, it was a very different situation.
Yeah,
but we love it, man.
It's really cool, especially when you're on cam too. You can people can see you and see how you're reacting to things and stuff. It's a much more engaging way of communicating with your audience as well. Like, because just doing a video with a voiceover and stuff, it works. It's cool. It works for a lot of people.
Yep.
But when they actually see you, I think they get a little bit more from the videos and from, of course, from the live streams. And I personally, it was actually the Iron Lords who told me to go that route. They started to do it, and they were like, dude, get on cam. It'll be much better, and it does, it helps. It definitely helps. But yeah, you guys have been doing it for a little while now, and I liked what you guys are up to over there, where you're basically interviewing people from the community and stuff, and really getting to know people, the backgrounds of others in the community. And that is really, I think, is one of the most important things that we sometimes forget, that we're people. We're just normal people like everybody else. You may interview a guy like Colt Eastwood, which has 100K subs, 140K subs, whatever it is. It's a lot of subscribers, big content creator, but he's a person at the end of the day. And it's good to get things out like that, about their backgrounds.
I love that you say that, because yes, through your channel, like, they know how you game and how you feel about certain video games in the industry, but that was the whole point of this. Like, there's a person behind there. Like, there's a person that we want people to know. And that's why the questions get a bit more personal. And it is because people can be rude out there, and they can leave nasty messages. And it's kind of like, it's just an opinion. It's still a person back there, and you should be a little more aware of how you say what you say.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I want to say what's up to the chat. There's currently about 80 people in the chat. Thank you for being here, guys. I see you, Sith Lord, every week. Sith Lord, thank you very much for coming by. In the super chat, he says, to be exclusive or not to be exclusive? That is the question. Yes, and I assume he's talking about Blade. You know what? I can pretty much... I can't guarantee it, but I think it'll be exclusive, guys. I think
Aaron Greenberg pretty much kind of put the nail in the coffin for the idea that it wouldn't be coming out. He changed it for a short period of time.
Yeah.
He put up the Blade image with the Xboxes in there with the thumbs up, like, hey.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. Ultraman, good to see you, brother. Thank you for that super chat. He says, hey, Fonz, what's up, brother? What's up? It's good to see you, Ultraman. One of the things I love about this community, especially the chat that I've cultivated here on my channel, it's usually a pretty good chat where we don't get too many trolls. We don't get people really being asshats, I'll say. And plus, I've got great moderators in the chat. So people like Boss Mod Lethal Papa, shout out to you. That guy will banhammer anybody who starts acting just a fool. So
nice.
No getting personal out there in my chat. But yeah, we got a lot of great people here. Let's get into my first topic here. And I want to have some fun today because lots been going on in my world. But today we're going to be having some fun. I want to talk about GTA 6, Grand Theft Auto 6. So they dropped the trailer earlier. Apparently, it was supposed to drop Tuesday last week, but it dropped on Monday night because somebody leaked the trailer. And what we saw from it personally, look, I am a huge Rockstar fan. Huge. I love all the GTAs, and I love the Red Dead Redemption series. My favorite is Red Dead Redemption. I love it. But GTA, I've been waiting for GTA 6 like everybody else in the world. But what's crazy is they dropped this trailer that night, and within 24 hours, they already had well over 100 million views. I've never seen such a thing ever on YouTube.
Facts.
It's crazy, CMoney.
It's pretty amazing.
What do you guys think about the trailer, by the way? What do you guys think about that, man?
Oh my gosh.
Loved it.
I loved it too. It was so populated. The energy in that world. I'm excited. I can't wait. The only downfall is that we have to wait till 2025
I know.
to check it out, and
Yeah.
that's not fair, you know?
Yeah,
that
you know
when
what's
you
yeah, go ahead, CMoney. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say when you look at it and you just watch it, oh my god, I'm so glad you put it back on because it's so beautiful. What they're showing us, right? Obviously, the idea here is that they're showing us that this world is alive, that this is not just walking down the street and people are just doing their regular plain old routines. Like this is like places you're gonna see things
Yeah.
happening. They're investing a lot into the AI, into the world. Oh
Very
my god,
interactive.
it looks crazy, dude. So
Yeah.
amazing.
And the thing about it is, you mentioned it, Doodle, the density of it all. The city is packed. And you know what? This is Florida. This is Miami because I've been there. And I can tell you, they've captured the essence of Florida. All the craziness as well. All the craziness as well. I paused it on this little part here because one of the things that I really hope is, because of these cars you see here and you see the way they're decked out, just like in real life too, you've got the big rims and stuff and the cars that are lowered and stuff. I hope that they bring back all the car customizations that they had in San Andreas. I hope they do that for this one. And it looks like they might. I mean, yeah, I love that sort of stuff. I like customizing things. But when you look at this world, and you pause each scene even, you start to recognize, like see more details that you don't really see on a trailer moving really fast, or, it's crazy.
Because there's so much happening in one scene, and you're obviously your eyes, because it's moving and you're like you're fixated kind of almost like on the center, right? So you're kind of just taking in the image as a whole instead of focusing. But like if you see on the right corner, right, there's a dude laying down in green shorts right there, and he's taking a picture.
I know.
Or filming the girl who's like twerking or doing something on the side. Like, I don't know if you see.
Yes, I see it. Yeah,
it's crazy when you go through these images and you just see so much happening, bro.
You see,
and
right
what's
in the
lovely is like
center,
they're giving us beach, they're giving us city,
Yeah.
they're giving us
Yep.
day, night, and as you mentioned, the cars, and again the movement of the community that's in there. Like it's so populated. I love it.
And
You
all
got
the
the little dog
representation,
running on the
right? You have
beach.
Oh yes,
everything.
You got
Yes,
all kinds of the
exactly. Yep.
helicopters in the
little dog, yeah,
background.
there's a small dog.
And
So much.
you'll be able to do so much in this game. It's insane. One of the things that really struck me though about this trailer, when I first started it, at the very beginning, when you first see the female protagonist in the game, right there.
Yep.
Now I know this is like a cinematic within the game, but
Yes.
it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. The way the hair is done, the facial expressions, everything. One of the things that Rockstar excels in, and I think they do the best, is animations and facial animations at that. I think their facial animations are second to none. Excellent. Like it's sometimes when I just glance at the screen, it looks like real life almost. It looks photorealistic at times. Certain
it does.
scenes.
The lighting too
Oh,
coming
God.
through when she's standing there is gorgeous.
Yeah, the hair, everything just moves so fluidly, so well. I just really think that they've captured so much of Florida, of real life. I'm glad. And you know what? Shout out to everybody out there that was saying that this game was going to be woke, because obviously it's not woke. Not one bit. And I love the... By the way, how do you guys like the protagonist, the Bonnie and Clyde sort of theme?
Oh my gosh,
we
we
love
freaking
it.
loved it. We loved it so much that CMoney went ahead and he has it as his profile with our faces.
I saw that.
on on
It's like
Twitter,
me and
on
Doodle,
X.
bro. I watched this. I'm like, that's me and my girl. That's it. That's us right there.
It's funny because they were reaching out to us and they said, "Oh, Grand Theft Auto 6 it's about you too, guys."
Yeah, no, it
And
works so
Panto,
well.
sir, one of our community members, he actually went ahead and put our faces in it right before we did. Remember, see?
Yeah,
It was
dope.
awesome.
Oh,
Shout
that's
out
so
to Panto.
awesome. Shout out to Highlander001 who gifted 5 memberships. I appreciate you guys so
Oh,
much.
that's dope.
Highlander, you are an
Shout out.
amazing guy, man. Thank you very much for that. It's man, it's so awesome when people do stuff like that. Like I'm one person who, I don't know, in my entire career here on YouTube, I say career, my entire time on YouTube has been one where I don't really ask for likes much even. And it's not because I say that's not something you should do. By all means, I should be asking for likes and stuff because sometimes people just forget. I know when I go to people's live streams, sometimes I'll be so engrossed in the conversation that when I hear, oh, hit the like, I'm like, oh yeah, did I hit it? And I hit it.
Yeah.
So, but I do myself a disservice a lot because I don't ask people to join or do any of that stuff, but they do it anyway. And that's what's incredible to me. Like, I really appreciate you guys. It's amazing. It's amazing.
When you have the right type of community cultivated, it's really a great thing because they're just so like really selfless people.
Yeah.
You know, like they just love being a part of the community. They have a ball with everybody. Nobody's toxic in there. Everybody's just having a good time. And they do, like, we forget all the time too, but we call them public service announcements every time we see them because somebody be like, hey, hit the like button. It's like, oh, my man with that public service announcement. Yes, please hit the like button, right? Like they remind us to do it. So it's dope how the community is. And it's like it's a tight-knit community too, because there's a lot of people that I see in your chat here that also come hang with us. And it's like, that's dope. Like
I get a lot of Xbox guys, and I've never really claimed to be an Xbox guy per se, but I'm not one who just disrespects a console because it's a console. Like, I don't understand the fanboy tribalism thing very much. I mean, I know it's much like teams, like sports teams and stuff. So people are just kind of rooting on their favorite plastic, I guess. But for me, it's always been about the games first. But I can recognize when things are good and bad on both sides, and I call them out, and I celebrate when one is doing really good, you know, and I think that's why a lot of people on the Xbox side has gravitated to me as well, is because yes, I may give criticism and I may give opinions that sometimes are negative against Xbox, but that's just because how I truly feel. It has nothing to do with PlayStation or, you know, anything else, but they also see that I celebrate Xbox when they do well. Like, in case in point, the Game Awards, 2023 Game Awards. Oh my gosh, guys. Let's talk about those Game Awards. So, one thing that we've been talking about a lot, especially me, I've been really down on Hellblade 2. And not because I feel like they're not going to make a great game in Ninja Theory, not because I don't think they could have pulled through with, you know, a fantastic experience, but because they've been showing us a lot of nothing over and over and over, and it's just like, please, can we see some combat? And guess what? We finally got that combat, and boy, was I freaking impressed. What did you guys think about that combat?
It was freaking amazing when her axe hit the sword. I think it was a sword he was holding. The sparks that flew off were insane. And I am so captivated by the protagonist, right? I want to know her story. I want to know, because I feel like I can feel her torment throughout the trailers that they've been showing, you know, like you feel kind of drawn in and connected to her, where you kind of just want to know more.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Especially since the first one, right? Like the first one was very much just her all in her head, but now, you know, this is a much bigger, grander experience. You know, we saw in previous, you know, trailers that there's times when you're with a bunch of people, right, who are on your side, almost like a team, right? Like you have your people around you as well. So I don't know how much all that's gonna play, but man, like you see, they weren't lying, man, when they said that the way they wanted to do this was that she wasn't going to be doing any fancy tricks. This was the actress who played her had a sword, a heavy sword, and was swinging it, and it was for her life. Like, you listen to the audio of her when she puts it in somebody, like, oh, like lifting it up,
body
like you hear
movement
her scream, like the energy she's using to take it out and hit people. Oh my god!
It's the brutality. The brutality is really, really impressive. Like the stabbing of the face and all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, this part right here, when I saw this, to me, this looks almost like a movie. It doesn't even look like a freaking game. I'm looking at that and I'm going, that looks like an actor dressed up. Like it doesn't even look like a game. Ninja Theory are just amazing at creating graphics, man. They're honestly, they're
really
one of the best. I can't believe how good this looks. And we knew it was going to look good, but it's nice to finally see some gameplay there. And
it's real time looking.
Yeah.
Good. You know what I'm saying? Not just in the moments of the cutscenes. Like one of my biggest things is like when you go and you play like The Last of Us, right? Like in the cutscenes, it's like, holy hell, look at how perfectly amazing this all looks, right?
Yeah.
Then, you drop out of the cutscene and, if you're looking behind the person, everything looks really good. As soon as you turn the camera around to the face, you immediately see the tremendous downgrade in that quality, right? But that's not what you got from this. Anytime you saw her from any angle, she was stunning, bro. Like it's perfectly
really
done.
And I just think the trailer was a great trailer. It really got me hype to play this game now. Man, the brutality there is so crazy. I really think
and it's just raw. Exactly. That was the word. It's so raw when you see her doing, like, there's not a moment when she's swinging or fighting that you don't see her face reacting to it in a major way. Like that's one of the biggest
great
victories,
comparison where I feel like a disconnect is like Horizon, right? I feel like there's a disconnect when she's like in combat, but I feel like here it's just she's in there, she's feeling that what's happening, and it's gonna be a special game.
And by the way, that it said it was running on a Series X during that.
Yes.
So that is important. That is something that the community and a lot of the content creators that spoke with Microsoft, including Colt. Colt was one of those people who gave them advice about, hey, make sure when you show things, try to show it on the Series X, because that is where the majority of the gamers are going to want to see, these games, because a lot of them have a Series X at home. So that's what they have been doing lately, and it's a great thing. I think it's been amazing that they have taken that feedback and are actually applying it. It's really good to see that.
It's important to keep it real, right?
Oh,
we want to know what we're looking at.
Of course, because you don't get that from the PlayStation side. You know what I'm saying? Like PlayStation doesn't really talk to their fans like Xbox does. And that is something that I know a lot of people hate sometimes, but I think it can benefit you a lot when you get that feedback from your fan base, because case in point, look at Larian Studios and Baldur's Gate 3. That game has been in it wasn't shoved out right away. For 2.5 years, people were playing that, game before it dropped and giving them feedback. Hey, this is going on here. This is going on there. And they're able to make this game what it is today, the game of the year. You know what I'm saying? So, when companies do talk to the fan base, they get to know, hey, that we can change this up. We can do this. And this is what they want. Feedback always helps, man. And I think that's something that Sony does lack, for sure. If I had to say anything bad about Sony, that is one of the things. Aside from the egregious freaking pricing that they like to do. So,
it's funny because I think that's one of my biggest turnoffs of PlayStation in general. Is that kind of like they remove themselves from the community. You know what I'm saying? They just want to be above. You know what I'm saying? Like they just want to be above up there, making whatever, doing what they want to do. And then, down there where the people are, is just, you just got to take it. You just got to take it. And that's why most of these people over there who are, are really embedded in like that pony mindset, is that they're so used to having to just defend themselves in their minds, right? Because the people, like the like figureheads, the executives, they're not coming down, they're not saying anything. So it's just constantly them having to take that spot, and then you lose like the I don't know, you lose that that community aspect of it. I feel like that's why Xbox has such a great community, because you feel like you know Phil, you
You
know
feel like you're
Aaron, you
being
know
Aaron,
heard by
Sarah.
yeah,
You
him.
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
involved with the community.
It is crazy when, you know, like when I was back making videos and stuff, when I had more time, I would have Aaron Greenberg hit me up and say, "Great video," you know, and it's like he watches, you know what I'm saying, and that is insane to me that you get that kind of feedback from their execs. Where PlayStation, I highly doubt they watch anybody. You know, I really do.
And it's kind of come back to like bite them, right? This is the problem that they've created. They are very dismissive. They don't care what's out there, what anyone wants. They're doing their thing. They feel like they know better. But there is, as you said, Fawn, something very special about going ahead and connecting to your community and hearing what the consumer wants. Because at the end of
Yeah.
the day, I mean, that's what you need to know.
Yep, you do, and even the criticism, they don't mind hearing it. A couple of their execs have told me in DMs that, you know, we know you're a little hard on this and whatever, but we like to hear your honest opinions. Like that's
Yeah.
fine with us.
Well, you know what? You know why? Because there's a difference between somebody who is just talking crap, right? Who's just saying things to say things.
Yeah.
And then there's someone that they could look at and be like, okay, this person in general is fond of Xbox. So if they're upset at this, even if not everyone feels that way, it doesn't matter. The point is that gives us perspective that we could actually use, because that person's not saying that just to talk crap.
Yeah,
right. And I think
for sure.
that's a big difference, and that's why they recognize that as a important thing, because they want to hear both sides of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I definitely do. Another cool thing is when we were watching that game show, I was pretty surprised at Sega. Sega was actually showing some cool stuff, and you know, bringing back games like Golden Axe and Shinobi, and what else was there? There was a few others.
Crazy Taxi,
Jet Set Radio, and they were sort of like they're making them like they're refreshing them, like they're remastering or remaking them, and they look really
I think
cool.
they're just new games.
You think they're brand new?
You know,
Totally brand new?
I think they're brand new games, just in, you know, just kind of reminiscent of that style of game.
for
Because
sure.
when you look at Streets of Rage, and I feel like I never saw something like that was that style. And then even like Crazy Taxi, like I'm pretty familiar with Crazy Taxi, and that didn't look like it was.
Yeah, I played Crazy Taxi back in the day. I played Jet Set Radio back in the day too. So you're probably right there. Some really cool stuff. Yeah, because Streets of Rage, I never saw that that level there.
Exactly.
Shinobi, that looks incredible too. So it's cool to see that Sega is making like a splash, and at the Game Awards that was cool to see. I feel like though that overall the Game Awards, I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I thought it was one of the best gaming awards show I've seen in a long time. Probably
I agree
the
with
best.
you 100%.
Now there was things that I didn't like about it, but you know, right now I want to just talk about the things that we did like. Was there anything on the show that you guys saw that besides Hellblade, besides the Sega thing, that you were like, wow, that's really cool, I can't wait to play that or experience that?
Well, going to Sega for me, by the way,
Go ahead.
because growing up, right, they go
Yeah.
ahead and you had one system, right? So
Yeah, a
my
lot of
parents
people.
bought Nintendo, then they bought the Super Nintendo, until you are, you know, out there on your own and you buy whatever you kind of want, right? So I didn't get to experience the Sega, right? And I used to go to my cousin's house, and I remember he had Sonic, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is so wild in comparison to Mario, right? Because Mario's like so slow paced. You go ahead and your point is to like collect all the coins, and Sonic is so like out of control. But I'm excited to go ahead and experience these games now.
For sure.
That I didn't get an opportunity to do when I was younger. So that's really exciting for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Real quick.
OD.
Oh yeah, good one. OD.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So,
OD.
Amazing.
Now, okay, so I saw that, and I don't know what to think about that. I am not the hugest Kojima fan. I have been very vocal about Kojima. I think that up until Metal Gear 3, I think Metal Gear 3 was really solid with me. I say solid, that's funny. But I liked Metal Gear, the series up until 3. Metal Gear 4 and 5, I started to fall off, especially 5. Like, it got really weird. And I just think that I think Kojima is really like fascinated with certain aspects of like movie making, that he implements it so hardcore into his games that sometimes I think he forgets that he's not making much sense within the game. I don't know what it is. I personally think he's a bit overrated, but I respect what he's brought to the industry. The cinematic things and stuff, he did that for us originally. I respect him for it. He's a legend in the industry. But I think that his later games haven't been as good as his earlier games, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of Death Stranding. So I don't know how you guys feel about it. But I'm not excited for OD because I don't understand what's going on with OD. I don't get it.
So this is the thing for me. I'm also not I'm not a Kojima stan at all. Like, it's not like, oh man, it's a Kojima joint, so I must, love this. Like, that's not really where I am with it, right? So
yeah.
As far as like Metal Gear, Metal Gear 1, I played back in the day on PlayStation. I beat that. Metal Gear 2, I beat that. And then I skipped Metal Gear 3 completely. That's why I'm excited for the remake that they're doing. Metal Gear 4 I did, which is when he was the old guy on PlayStation 3, right? Like, that was the one that's still exclusive to the PlayStation 3, which I like that one. I enjoyed it. And then 5, I was into it. Like, I played the Zeros, like the first one, Ground Zeroes, the little prequel that they made. And I was cool with that. But then 5, I played that for a while, and then it was just like, it just got too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just going too many different directions for me, and I just wasn't feeling it that much.
Me too.
Death Stranding is the game that I keep trying to play because I'm really into graphics, like a lot. So like, if something looks good, it frustrates me if I don't enjoy it, because it's like I want to keep seeing what else he's gonna show me, because he is creative as all hell, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, as crazy as it all
he
is, he's creative, and the problem is when the games are creative, they're divisive, right? Because if you're not digging that lane of creativity he's going in, you're just not gonna dig it, right? So that's kind of where I was with Death Stranding. Every time I tried it, every time I would start, I'd be like, man, this doesn't feel bad. This is pretty cool. And then I just would stop because it's like, I'm not into it anymore. This one hit a little different because graphically it's crazy. And I think, like, for me,
are we sure
he
that
has
that's
never been unleashed?
But are we sure that's like the graphics of the game, or like, I don't even know what we're seeing. I don't know what we're looking at.
This is the one thing about Kojima, right? And I forgot what documentary or something. It was somewhere. So Kojima doesn't waste. He doesn't do any waste. Meaning, what he's building is always for the game, right? So whatever he's building is used in the game. That's why when we saw those cutscenes for Death Stranding in the very beginning, the first time, like, every one of those cutscenes are in the game and they look the same or better. I mean, if you look at Hellblade right now, right, and then you come back and look at this and remember, he's using the cloud as well. So this is not just the power of the box, but it's also using, cloud technology with it. So he's using the power of the cloud. We see the power of the cloud in Flight Simulator, which makes, essentially gave us the entire world with photorealistic graphics. So I definitely feel like that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the game, or at least a part of the game, something that's happening there. But I just feel like when you think about what's his name, Jordan Peele, and you hear about.
I think that's what makes it more exciting, right? Is the fact that Jordan Peele is on board with it. I think that made it a bit more exciting than just Kojima showing up.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think when you look at that footage, I just saw right there. Cullen Prime said there's no uncanny valley in that footage. There's not. When you see her like react, when you see that door open in her eyes, and then she freaks out. The first time I watched it, I freaked out. Like I screamed. Like I was on Mav's show. It's recorded, and I screamed when it happened because I was so drawn into her that when she reacted, it was my natural reaction, right? So I'm excited. I'm really excited, to be honest with you, for anyone who's working with Xbox right now, because this is the first time that they're actually like free to really just do whatever they want, because you have the financial backing of, Xbox.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing.
And the creative freedom. They actually give creative freedom to those developers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like they're literally being left alone to create, right? They're just do what you want to do, make something amazing, and just do it, right? And honestly, in all of Xbox's history, all those games that we, Gears of War, all that stuff from before, that was always, the scale always had to be limited because, Satya, that checkbook wasn't that open. You know what I'm saying?
God,
so
that skin looks so real.
It does, dude. It does.
does. See, that's what I'm excited for. I feel like just hitting, like we're almost there. Just like that next gen, that really realistic feel where you're gonna go ahead and get to see these games that we're just gonna enjoy regardless, right? Just whether it's because we enjoy the story or we just want to see, like CMoney said, like just curiosity of what's next, how much they put into this.
I'm just waiting for like the actual like what are we going to get? Like I want to see what type of game this is going to be. We do know that it's cloud based or using the cloud in some capacity. Don't know exactly for what, but we know Kojima's also, he's out there and he's forward thinking, and he wants to use the cloud in a certain way that he said that he couldn't have used like with PlayStation per se. So I'm interested in knowing what type of game is this going to be. Solid Rev said, I was literally just looking at it, and he says the trailer was garbage. Yeah, no, it wasn't. To me, it wasn't anything to really get excited about for me.
Right? Like that's just like that's like saying the Indiana Jones trailer we got was garbage, right? Like it was just an introduction, right? It was just letting us get an idea that this is happening and understanding the route he's taken. And to be clear, right? To be clear, he showed us something that was phenomenal looking, right? Whether it was, obviously we're not looking at somebody we're controlling and doing anything, but the tone piece that we got, like setting the stage, we know is going to be a crazy scary type game. I mean, that you got Jordan Peele walking on. I mean, they did everything they could to show you that
what it's about.
It's gonna be a scary game, dude. Like, dude, yo, remember, my man.
Remember PT? Remember that? Yeah.
I was about to say PT, man. He made PT. He didn't get to make it. He didn't get to finish it. He didn't get to do that Silent Hill game he wanted to make. Right. So again,
and I think PT would have been incredible. I remember playing through that demo, thinking to myself, now this is a great game. And then it just like didn't materialize. We didn't get it. But yeah, it would have been a great Silent Hill game. Would have been fantastic. I just want to go ahead and close this out, but thank you very much, Highlander001, for that super chat. He says, I'm sorry for the loss of your mother. I know how hard it is to lose your mom and dad in the same year. Yeah, within a couple of months of each other. It's crazy. He said he lost his mom a week before his wedding. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That sucks. Yeah, my condolences to you too, my friend. Yeah, it's tough, but we must go on. We must continue. And but yeah, I personally think that this Game Awards was really good. Before we get into the negatives, though, I have to bring up, of course, Blade. I have been asking for Marvel's Blade. I've been asking Xbox to do this game since 2018. 2018, I'm on podcasts talking about this, saying, you know, when everybody was talking about Spider-Man for PlayStation, I was out there saying, why can't they get like a Blade? I would love a Blade game, you know, because we've had it in the past. And I'm just like, I like the character. He's a cool character. They can really do something with this IP. Where is it, Microsoft? Come on. And finally, they show it. And I personally am really excited for this. I'm optimistic for this. And let me tell you why. I think, for me, I have to say this. Arcane, I'm not the biggest fan of either Arcane Austin or Leon. I'm not the biggest fan because I'm not a big fan of Dishonored. And I know a lot of people like the franchise. I didn't like Deathloop. I don't like roguelike games. However, this game is different because this is not a first-person stealth game. They are branching out into, and they said it on the stage, it is a third-person action game. Third person. Great. Third person. This is awesome. What do you guys think about this little, I guess it's a trailer for the game.
Yeah, it's again, another tone piece, right? Just kind of letting us know the tone that they're going for. You know, introduce. I love this little part where he's like, "Relax." You know what I'm saying?
I don't bite.
You don't know what's coming because over here I'm wondering, wait, this looks amazing, but what is it? What is it? What's coming? Until you see the fan over there, you're like, oh my gosh, and I freaking lost it. I'm like ready to watch the movie again.
Oh, I love the first two movies. Blade 1 and 2 are excellent. Love those movies. But yeah. They got
ready to get in there and check them out.
But you noticed something there.
I actually like the third one, and I think it's because Ryan Reynolds, right?
Really?
He had.
I like the first two.
Yeah,
those are my favorites.
I got to check them out again, but after seeing the trailer, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to go back to the movies and get it back into that story.
I think the thing that excites me too, real quick, is that
go ahead.
Are coming off of Redfall, right? Obviously, we know it's the other Arcane, right? It's Arcane Austin
Leon
did that one, but this
it's Austin that did Redfall,
yeah. So I think the thing that excites me is the idea that they have something to prove as an overall brand or overall studio, being Arcane, that they're going to come out here and again. Papa Phil with that checkbook saying, just make an amazing game, you know, go do this. And it just opens up the possibility for more now, right? Like this is just the first, right? So we know we got Indie, we know we got Blade. This is our Marvel introduction. Now the gates are open. You know what I'm saying? Like we could go, Phil can go grab any Marvel IP he wants now, right? Like that's a huge thing. And there's always those rumors about Mandalorian, right? And you got Marvel, you got, you know, Lucas
Mandalorian, that'd be good.
Star Wars is next, man. That's gonna be the next exclusive we get our way. I feel it.
Yeah, they do need to go ahead and kind of clean the name, but it also like it shows you how when you know a character and it's an iconic character or something that you're nostalgic about or attached to in some way or another, it just means that much more. It looks amazing, but we just saw a little bit. We know it's freaking Blade, and it's like, oh my God, it's happening. It's mind blowing. So it's so different. So when you see something that it's at the same caliber, but it's not, it's unknown, you know?
Yeah, right. Rev, I see you in the chat. He says it's Arcane fonts. It's going to have that silly cartoon art style like Fortnite. It's not Fortnite, but I will tell you this. Even as silly as Fortnite cartoon is, Fortnite can be fun with friends. A lot of fun. However,
and stunning.
I don't have a problem with a cartoony look to this, especially the one they showed in this trailer, right? I don't have a problem with the way it looks. I think it looks really cool. It doesn't have a photorealistic look, but I don't think these are really too cartoony for me anyways. I think it looks really good. If I get this kind of art style, with a third-person action game. And what you have to keep in mind too, Rev, is that they've already said it is a mature title as well. This is going to be rated M. This is going to have lots of gore. This is not going to be just, one of those cartoony titles where, you got no blood or green blood or whatever. This is going to be, a mature title. And I am very happy to hear that. Because if this was going to be rated like T, then I would have skepticism.
That would have been a whole different discussion.
I would have had skepticism with this, with the cartoony look.
Yeah.
But the biggest,
you'll be like, why are you doing this to me? This isn't right. But I do think I agree with you. Once you get into that combat, that's where it's really going to shine.
Yeah, if it has really great combat.
Bad when you're out there.
I would argue some of those SpiderMan suits in that game look silly and cartoonish. But guess what?
True.
I had fun in the combat. It didn't deter me from having fun with that combat. So I'm not going to be like so down on the way it looks currently. Plus, this could all change. This might not even be the way it looks. Who knows in the end? But even if it does, I'm good with it. But the biggest controversy about this was here at the end. You don't even see an Xbox or a Marvel, a Game Pass logo or anything. And you usually see that, and you didn't see it here. So a lot of people were out there wondering, is it going to be exclusive or not? Or is it going to be multi-plat? And the funny thing about this is, it's funny because first you had a lot of guys on the Sony side getting all upset, calling this game trash, it's arcane, it's garbage, it's this and that. But once they started to notice this stuff and go, hey, wait a minute, this ain't even going to be exclusive, it's like they wanted it.
They always do.
It doesn't make sense. Like either you don't want it and it sucks, or you want it, and it's obvious you guys want it. It's a Blade game. It's a game that I know a lot of you Sony guys wanted. Blade.
It's identical situation with Starfield.
Yes,
everybody was
facts.
They got Starfield. They weren't getting it on PlayStation. They're all pissy about it, but they were going to get it as an exclusive, and they were all up in arms. Oh, man, no, we were supposed to have this game as exclusive. And as soon as that was clear that they were not going to have it, then they start to hate on it, right? Because they hate on what they can't have. And that's the shit that separates us, where, like, I can go and say, listen, I played Spider-Man 2. Pretty fun game. Dope. Cool. Fine. Looks good. Doesn't look next-gen. But I can appreciate the game for what it is.
The cutscenes are stunning.
The cutscenes are really well done. But it's like, you have these people who go and they make it their mission to shit on the other side because they don't have it. And I'm just wondering, like, how is it that they can spend their time hating on these things that they don't have when they look down their own street and see nothing? They got no type of roadmap.
let's be clear. They have Wolverine in 2025 for first party now. First party.
I think 2025.
I'm hoping, because I want to play Wolverine. I love Wolverine, so I want to play it. I think Insomniac is a great developer. And I think
Fonz
they would do a great
don't put that out there, CMoney. 2025. Let's keep
it's 2025 at least. That's what we're looking at.
At
that's
least
guaranteed.
It's
guaranteed at least.
But yeah, so that 2024 is looking spooky.
2024, that's why they're relying on some, published Sony games from multi-plat developers. That's why they're really leaning on that right now. And, that's something that I wish Microsoft would do more of in the past. I wish they would have done that in 2022, when we really didn't have anything. Or even 2017. And there was some years that were very dry for Microsoft, and I wish they would have done that. But this year,
2022 wasn't supposed to be that way.
I know,
right? Like they had Starfield, they had,
and it got pushed out.
I know, there, so that they couldn't just flip a switch and be like, hey,
yeah. But I wish they would have opened up that pocketbook.
They held it back. They held them back.
Yeah.
But Fonz, to your point, right? You said you love games in general, right? But see, that's there's a mentality that should be out there. Like, how can you claim that you love games in general, but as soon as you find out that it's not going to PlayStation, it's trash?
Why you get mad? Yeah, why? That's what.
Like,
it's dumb.
But you get mad, but then also beg for it, right?
Yeah.
So you hate it, but please give it to me.
That's
Can't
the reason
stand it,
why I
but I
own.
need it now.
That's the
Tell me,
reason why I
please.
own everything. I even own a Switch and don't play it. Like that's
Yes.
you know, shout out to Mario Wonder though. I think that game is great. Mario Brothers Wonder is a great
is.
2D game. They really did some cool stuff with that. But outside of that, I really haven't messed with anything much. And I've only played that with my family, though. We've had a great time with that game together. But same thing with like Mario Kart and Mario Party.
Really creative.
Yeah. They do great with family-oriented games. That's where Nintendo really just excels above everybody else, in my opinion. I think their family-oriented games are amazing. And they do a great job
It brings
with that.
everyone together, like ready to just have a really relaxed time, you know? And when we were playing Spider-Man, so it's funny that you brought it up, and we're talking about the combat, right? And how it kind of like after a bit, it gets repetitive a bit. And it got me thinking about Rise, and I'm like, you know, the way that they were able to go ahead and that game till this day looks phenomenal. But the way that they were able to, even though you're kind of pressing the same buttons, you're still getting a different like ending to your combat every time, you know, as the game evolves. That keeps that interesting. I feel like they need to bring some of that into like games like Spider-Man or God of War, like that kind of get a little bit repetitive after a bit.
And you even got more points and stuff when you hit the right button at the end that was kind of correlating to the last attack. Like there was things that kept that interesting. And like we were playing Spider-Man, and it's like, you know, Spider-Man 2, and it's like, you know, the game is fun, right? But it's like you start realizing that you're just, you know, you're hitting the attack button, tack. You see the white thing come around his head. It's like, oh, circle, you know, circle, back to attack, right? And then, yeah, you could do like these combo things, you know, hold L, do these special attacks. But it's like, I don't know. I just feel like it's they had more of the same, and it felt like it. And I don't know. I wish they had done more. I just felt like they did.
I think that they improved the traversal in the game. I really like the flight mechanics that they have, or the gliding mechanics, I should say, with the web wings. That was really nice. The combat was really good, in my opinion. I have a lot of fun with the Spider-Man combat. What I didn't have fun in the game with is the MJ missions. I even with the stun gun.
I don't think anybody did fun.
I think even with the stun gun, I think it was worse only because it made Spider-Man look weak as hell. Because you had MJ taking out guys in one hit of that stun gun, where it took him 40 punches in the beginning of the game. Like it was just like, okay, I know what to do here. You want to defeat everybody? You attach the stun guns to your web shooters. I don't know. Use that technology, Peter. You're a smart guy. Game over. You beat everybody in one hit. But for some reason, only MJ had those guns. And it didn't make sense. It was really bad. And not only that, the narrative alone. I liked the Venom narrative. I liked the Kraven narrative. I thought it was really good and solid there. But when it came to Peter, MJ, and Miles, their narrative there, their dynamic together, them talking together, it was cringe as hell. And it was bad. Just bad writing between those three. It just fell off for me big time. And that's why I docked it, you know, a couple of points, because I was like, you know, this is taking away from my fun factor. Because yes, while I'm having fun, it's great, but there's a lot of times where it takes control away from you, and you have to watch this cutscene play out, and what they're saying within is stupid. And I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, and I also wish that they gave you like the opportunity to play as like two players. Go ahead and let us play multiplayer.
Co-op,
you have Peter co-op. You have Miles. Why can't we just play co-op? That would have been a lot of fun. I feel like they could have incorporated that.
Yeah, let me get the super chat here. Gamer by Choice, thank you very much for the 2. He says, much love to some of my favorite podcasters. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Gamer by Choice is the man.
Yep. Here's the other man, Danny Passion Official. I appreciate this guy a lot. Great supporter. He says, Blade 1 and 2 are my top 5 favorite movies of all time. Yeah, Blade 1 and 2 are great. Blade 1, the first Blade is probably one of my favorite, if not, I mean, it's up there for being one of my favorite superhero movies ever. Like Blade 1, Wesley Snipes killed it. Love that role for him. It was a great movie. So I'm with you, man. William Lewis, thank you very much for the 2. He says, Amazing Lucas saw the Blade trailer and said, rest in peace, Xbox. You know, I say rest in peace, Amazing Lucas. I do not care for that guy at all. Back in the day, I tried to watch him. I thought when I first saw him years ago, because he's been on YouTube forever, I thought he was pretty, like, I don't think he was until I actually started watching him. But before I watched him, I thought he was a guy that wasn't really so one-sided. I thought he was unbiased, really. But he's not. He's definitely not. And he's just gotten crazier and crazier over the years and has some wild takes. And I think he does it purposely for YouTube. I honestly do. I think that's what some of these guys do. They have the shtick that they keep up with just to get, more people watching them, clicks and all that stuff. I don't know. But I think the Blade trailer looks great from what we've seen so far. Now, remember, guys, it's just now going into development. They just started on this game. It's nowhere near done. So, I mean, we don't even know what the full trailer is going to look like with gameplay and stuff. That's what I'm really curious to see. Because, again, Arcane usually does first-person perspective games. This is third-person action. This is a total departure from what we've seen them do in the past. And this is a well-known character that we know and love. And they shouldn't screw it up. They shouldn't. So
I feel like they're also more incorporated now. Like they have access to so much more, right? I feel like now it's been long enough where, Phil says it himself. We're a team. We work together. We figure things out. I feel like they're more comfortable now in there where they can go ahead and have access to different developers and help that they may need.
Shout out to the 330 people watching. We've got an ILP raid going on. So after the ILP, this is what usually happens. After Iron Lords goes off, they usually come by here. And I really appreciate that, guys, because
that's really dope.
Yeah, my brother's over there at the ILP. Amazing guys. Love those guys. I used to watch ILP back when they used to have 10 subscribers, maybe. Watching they hardly had anybody, and I used to hit up Cog all the time and say, keep it up, guys. You guys are going to do great. You guys have an awesome show here. And look where they're at today. Freaking thousands of people watching them all the time. And it's really cool to see. Love it.
That's amazing.
Game Shark, thank you very much for the 2. He says Baldur's Gate 3 got Game of the Year. CMoney was rescarred. All love. Well, what's he saying about you being rescarred?
Oh my god!
Oh my god, Fonz, you sure you want to hear this?
Yeah, I'll listen to this.
That's the reason I stopped playing this game. All right, I was living my best life playing this game. I didn't like these types of games. Yeah, I definitely not ever would you would never just see me play this game. But
CMoney has FOMO.
I got FOMO.
When he heard the hype all over X, everybody's excited for it. He's like, all right, I got the game.
Like, fine. I'll go get it. And everything was fun, man. I played like 17 hours. Everything was going well. But then once I realized I was in the camp, right? You go back to the camp, and that's where you can start talking to all the people. And, there was this dude, I think his name is Gale, which
it's Gale. Don't act like you don't know that's his name.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Gale. Yeah. I know who you're talking about. The magic user.
At the camp. Right, and he was holding up this image in his hands of a woman, and I was like, all right, he's checking out this lady, let me go say what's up. So he starts talking to me, and he's like talking about the magic, and she's all this stuff, and invites me to go to the world, to go to this world to learn more magic or to experience more magic or something like that. I was like, all right, let's go.
Oh, he's going to show
down.
you more magic. All right.
Oh, my man really trying to show me some magic. Yo,
this magic
I was
stick.
going through and I'm picking my answers like innocently as all hell, thinking I'm just learning, like I'm just trying to learn the magical powers that he claims to be able to show me. And yo, when he done turned around,
showed you the world,
and came up to me like it was about to go down. I was like, yo, what the I did not condone this. I did not click anything that should have led me here.
As you're telling the
I
story,
don't know
Fonz is like,
about
no, like don't do it. See,
no,
I don't know about that because usually they give you clues and you can kind of understand they're flirting with you.
No clues. Starfield, it's like flirt. I'm like, all right, no,
yeah,
Barrett,
it doesn't. It's not that overt, but moving. But yeah, like
dude,
some party members will ask you to dance, and yeah, you gotta be careful there,
yes
man.
To any of that kind of crap with him, and then he just kind of went in for it. And I was like, no, backspace, delete that, and then I just had to like abort that mission, get out of there. And then once that started happening, I was like, you know what? That's way too.
I don't trust it. I
can't trust this crap, man. This is the closest that I have to say. It's funny because it was. I got to give it this credit, right? It's the closest to how I would imagine a woman would feel when she's hanging out with a dude who she thinks is her friend,
and he becomes a creep.
She says something nice or something like that makes him think that all of a sudden she's interested, and he like goes in. Like, and it's like, no, dude, I was just being nice to you, right? Like, that's what I felt with him. Like, yo, I was just entertaining your magic bullshit. I didn't know what you were going to try.
Hey, you went for the magic stick, and we all
I wanted
no magic stick.
There was no magic stick.
He comes out to me. He's like, some things have happened in BG3.
I was like, babe, I can't go back to that shit. I can't go back.
Oh,
I can't look at him the same. I can't look at the situation anymore. I was like, I'm good.
So shout out to FTW for becoming a member. I appreciate that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice job, brother.
I got Big Boy Mike here. Thank you for the 2. He says Fonz, Doodle, and CMoney are the best in the business. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, my man.
Yeah, but no, Baldur's Gate 3 winning Game of the Year, by the way, is fantastic for me because I love the game. So I love it so much that I got to Act 3, which is the last act in the game, in my first playthrough. And I was playing on GeForce Now because I didn't want to play the PS5 version. So, and it was awesome. So I was playing it. I got to Act 3. Then I was like, I don't want to end this right now. So I started a new character. So I rolled another character, started making different choices, and I'm seeing so much that I didn't see in the first playthrough. And I'm like, oh my God, this game is incredible with the choices, right? So I got to Act 2, the end of Act 2 there, and then now they announced it on Xbox the other night. During the Game Awards, they dropped it. So I bought it on Xbox. Now I'm playing a playthrough on Xbox. So I've got a third one going, going to get some achievements there. I'm just blown away. Like, I've never double dipped on a game before, but I double dipped on this because I love it so much.
That's awesome.
And I have not been magic stick.
It's not my type of game.
Yeah.
I have not been magic stick.
So you didn't get the magic stick.
I didn't.
Maybe your character wasn't as good looking as mine.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously
maybe
not.
Didn't do it right.
And here's
Gail
the thing.
was obviously hot for my dude.
Listen, that outfit you were rocking, CMoney, did you no favors.
You know, I can't lie. The outfit was like, I guess if I saw the dude wearing that outfit, I would be like, I understand. But I didn't have a lot of choices, and you got to go by like the stats. I looked like a little green leprechaun. It was horrible.
I agree, Boba Fett. I don't think it deserved best multiplayer. I don't think so. I don't personally, but I think it deserved everything else it got. It's really, really good. But my first playthrough, funny enough, nobody wanted to romance my character in that first playthrough. I don't have any romance options at all. And my buddy who's played it like 7 times, he's been playing it for years. He told me, he goes, I've never seen that happen. And I had made a choice in the game early on that caused that. I found this out. And that choice, by the way, that I made, my buddy has never seen anybody make before. And he was like, that's insane. Like, I've never heard that of that happening. So your game is so freaking different than any of the 7 times he's played it. And I was like, wow. And so I started it the second time, and yeah, I'm towards the end of Act 2 on that second playthrough, and I saw how much difference it was. And I saw how people were throwing themselves at me. By the way, I think Gail might have even made a pass at me in the game, but I refused. I keep refusing to do anything with these people. Like, I'm just here to save the dang world, get this thing out of my head. I'm not about, just romancing everybody and stuff. Like, that's not why I'm playing the game.
Is that your character that we're watching?
Yeah, one of them. It's my second character. Yeah.
This is your game.
The white hair. Yeah.
His second.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the
bloody chick with the white hair. Yeah. She's like a drow or whatever. Elf drow.
So Gail try to romance her?
Yeah.
Gail's out for everyone.
So Gail don't
apparently.
give a shit.
He don't care.
You know who tries to romance you all the time is that Astarian, man. That Astarian. He just wants to bite everybody.
Oh my God.
But anyways.
Listen, it's not my type of game, but it's a stunning game. And when you have other developers out there saying, do not expect this from us.
Yeah, I know.
You're doing something
Which was
right.
wild.
Yeah.
That whole thing when they first dropped this game and people were like, hey, don't expect every game to be like this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro.
It's because they pushed the genre forward. They've created the pacing, the stories, the companions, backstories. They're all so fleshed out. Like, there's so much going for this game that it really like blew people away. And so other RPG makers are like, hey, don't expect this to be anything like, the standard going forward. It's because they got nervous. They're like, holy shit, like we can't do that. But they can. It's just, you have to put the time in and effort. And also, like this, like I said earlier, they had this game opened up to their fan base for years that gave them feedback. They helped create this game. So it's amazing. It's amazing. Boba said.
Yeah, it is dope how they have made it where like the game can just be completely different depending on what you're doing, and in like a really natural way, not like hey, you made this, like you have 3 choices in front of you, pick one, and that's going to determine a different route. Like it's just like literally, like I think I got Gale in my game through some portal.
Yes, that's how he
ended
comes.
But I've watched other people not do it. Right, so like there's other people who never had him.
In my third game, I severed his hand when he was reaching through. I cut it off.
Man, well, deservedly.
Yeah, so he's not romancing me.
He was looking out for UC. Look at that.
I appreciate that. Revenge.
Thank you, Bonds.
In my first game, Gale left my party completely. He just left. He got mad at me because I made a choice and he didn't like it, so he bounced. And that's what will happen in the game too. If you piss these guys off enough, they'll just be like, I'm out. And they leave you. And they could be some of your strongest characters. And they will leave if you do something wrong.
After you invested all that shit into them.
Yeah, exactly. But
Hans, did you kill the bear?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Both
I killed
times?
that mama bear. Yeah. I killed that.
The one that they had trapped? The one that they had trapped?
Oh no, not the baby. That's the mama bear here that I'm showing, and I fight against her, but the baby, I end up saving the baby later.
So this is like a falcon lady. This is like some half-breed creature.
Oh, no, this is an owl bear. This is an owl bear.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, like
I don't know what bear you're talking about.
Was in the just like they have him trapped.
Yeah,
right?
like
and he's in a cage.
I haven't even seen that.
Like a big fortress, the troll fortress or whatever it was. I don't know if it's trolls.
Really? And there's
like a big fortress. And
I know what you're talking about. Okay, you're talking about Halson. He's a guy. He's a druid. He's a bear. In bear form.
He like does the bear form, but I didn't know that he was a person.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
did you kill him?
We were, babe. Did I kill him
the first round?
I think I killed him, but then I died. Yes. So I had to redo it.
Wow.
And then
we let him live.
And we let him live. And then he turned into a human. I was like, oh, shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But apparently, if you press the wrong buttons with him, too, you get that, bear love.
Oh, yeah. You don't want that bear love. You don't want that. You don't want the magic stick. No. You don't want any of that. So I don't know. But all I know is this game won, and it pissed a lot of people off, apparently. A lot of people were mad, and this is one of the things that I was
Spidey
posting on
people were
Twitter
mad.
because, well, you know, you have guys on a specific side that really thought that Spider-Man 2 should have been Game of the Year, which I personally, and this is just my opinion, I am not everybody out there, so I only have my own truth to speak of. I will say that I think that Spider-Man 2 was overrated. I don't think that it should have been in the Game of the Year contention at all. I don't even think it should have got any of those nominees except for maybe Best Action Game. That's the only one I can see.
So did everybody else because it didn't win anything.
Exactly. And, you know, and to top that off, a lot of people were saying, well, it was a committee. It wasn't gamers that voted there. No, the Gamer Choice didn't vote for it either. It was Baldur's Gate 3 there too. So obviously, it was a bit overrated. That's just my opinion.
We agree with you. I mean, we were playing, and even in the game, like you see the when they defeat Sandman, right? And you see all the sand around the city, right? And it's kind of like floating around in the air, but the trees are not reacting the same way. And then there's water getting shot around because there's a fire, and the sand on the ground is not changing.
It's not
density
muddy. It's not
because.
Yep.
Yes. So there are a lot of elements in that game aside from, like, you know, the buggy mess that they should have held it back and released it a little later. But again, the cutscenes are stunning, but there is a disconnect when you go ahead and go and play the game.
How can Rockstar make a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 on an Xbox One with 1.8 T-flops that has all this reaction, that has all this
because they're masters at it. You can't compare. I argue with guys, and it for some reason ends up being Sony guys because they think that Naughty Dog and Insomniac are the best ever, and they're really good, but they're not as good as Rockstar. They're not as good as Rockstar when it comes to creating real worlds and stuff. Their open worlds feel more alive than any other development, you know, world built by any other studio ever. Like you can't get as good as a Red Dead game or a Grand Theft Auto game. The sense of realism or that feeling of being in a live city or whatever is just so much different in a Rockstar game.
You know what's also crazy? Like, they're called Rockstar, right? But they are not afraid to make content that you will never see.
Yeah,
like
true.
They're not those type of people who are like, no, I made it, I want it to be seen. They literally make so much that you just stumble across, if you're lucky, and have these completely different experiences that other people may not ever have seen. Like we tell the story, we've told the story a few times, but back when we were doing Her, Him, and a Mike's, before it turned into Her, Him, and a Guest, we reviewed
Yellowstone.
Yes. Right. We did the whole season. We reviewed the show.
I like that show. That was a good show.
It was a great show. We're still waiting for it to come back. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
But on the last episode of that season, I normally always put on, I just had it like in the background, Red Dead Redemption 2 just kind of sitting there, right? Because it was
it has a similar vibe.
Since it was simulated and it's like a Western, I was like, all right, let's put that in the background. So we did that every single time. But this last episode, I was like, you know what? While we're talking, I'm just going to move the character around. Like, I had beaten the game, way long ago, but just moving the character around, and I'm going through, and I'm like, the episodes are, the episode was long. So I was just literally just kind of walking way out into the distance. And towards the end of the show, it got dark in the world. And I kind of crested up this hill into kind of like a flatland, and you can hear like music, right? Like, you hear music and like people cheer, like making noise and stuff. And as you get closer, you see there's a house with lights on, right? So it's like, oh snap, what's going on over there? As you get a little closer, you can see inside that there's people dancing, like women, men dancing, having a party. There's stuff all over the table, like something was happening, but they were having a great time, right? Like, you could just see. And I'm like, it's dark outside, so I go and I walk up to the window and I'm just watching. And then tell me one of those dudes didn't turn around, right? Just naturally, as they're dancing, they just saw me, and it's just like, oh my God, somebody's there. Yo, everybody scattered.
Yep.
The women went out the back door and ran away. All the men grabbed their guns, started coming out, started shooting.
Yeah.
Like, yo, that shit was
so awesome.
And CMoney sitting there like, why do they do this? Why did I'm like, dude, imagine in real life if somebody's creeping, looking through your window. What are you gonna? What's gonna be your reaction?
That's exactly what I talk about all the time with Rockstar in their open worlds. Is that the interactivity that you have within them and with the pedestrians and the people that are out and about is second to none. You don't get the same reactions from people on the street that you do in a GTA game that you do in, say, a SpiderMan game. They're just window dressing in that SpiderMan game. They're just there for nothing. They're just there for looks. They're just walking around, mindless drones, doing nothing.
Yep.
But in Rockstar games, they're actually, they have a purpose. They're doing things. They'll have conversations with each other, the NPCs, and you'll hear little stories and stuff going on. You can just stand there and listen to them talk, and it's amazing. And I agree with something somebody said. They said that Rockstar games, their controls are not very good. That's one thing they do have to work on. I think they're fine. They're serviceable, but they do need to update their controls. I hope they do with GTA. I wish that Grand Theft Auto 6 would have some of the gunplay from Max Payne 3. Max Payne 3 gunplay is amazing. If they would just implement that into their Grand Theft Auto game, it would be perfect. It would be amazing. But that's one thing I think that they do kind of lack is the mechanics, the controls. But
I think they want to put realism over the ease of play, right? Like that's where they kind of think it, right? For them, they want to make those steps look as realistic as possible. When if you need to turn around quick, you're not going to turn around quick, just like you couldn't do in real life. Like it's going to be awkward.
Yeah, that's true.
And like part of me is like, would it be cool if they did, make it a little more, action-y control-wise, you know what I'm saying? Like more geared towards that. Yes. But then at the same time, like part of me is like, the trade-off is worth it though. Like when you watch how they walk, you watch how they react to the world when they're doing this stuff. It's like if you have too quick reactions, you lose some of that like magic that they show you. It's a visual treat, right? Like that's really what it is. It's more about the experience of being in that world more than how much
for sure
particular ease of play you have, right? I mean, as much as it's a game first, it should be, as easy or as fun to play as possible. I feel like I'm okay with what they want to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like if for them they just want to make it more realistic, then I'm
look at Grand Theft Auto 5. Look at how many people are still playing that game today. Are the controls really holding that back? I don't think so. No. And the controls aren't going to hold back GTA 6. I've said it before, and it's a no-brainer. It's obvious. That game is going to sell more than any other game in history. That game is going to be just freaking
and quick.
The sales are just going to be phenomenal.
Like it's not even like Grand Theft Auto, not like 5 that took a long time to get to where it is currently. I mean, it sold a lot. It was always selling, but I feel like it's going to be even faster, man. Yep. To have over 100 million people in 24
less than 24 hours watching the trailer alone.
That shows you that those 180 million or however many they sold of GTA 5, they're ready.
They're ready. Yeah.
Buy.
I've been ready forever.
That's going to be the biggest day one launch of
I remember
game.
5 years ago yelling at people, stop playing Grand Theft Auto 5 so we can get 6 already. Stop it. You're just delaying the game. That's all you're doing. Boba Fett Gaming, shout out to you, brother. He says, if they pull off this entering 70% of the buildings in GTA 6, that would be crazy impressive. I've heard many make similar claims before launch. Now, here's the thing that's interesting about that, because I heard that claim as well. Even if they entered 20% of the buildings, it would be more than any other open world game. That is insane. 20% would be insane. But 70%? That I can't even fathom that, especially with how dense this game looks so far. I couldn't Couldn't believe that you can go in that many buildings. You'd be telling me 7 out of 10 buildings you see on the street would be able to enter. That's nuts. That's crazy.
The only thing when you start thinking about that a little bit is like, then that they must be having like a lot of like stores, like a lot of retail stores, because it wouldn't really make too much sense to you just be able to walk into somebody's house like, yo,
it'd be cool though.
What's up?
Unless
you could break in, right? Like unless there's
break
like a
in,
break
yes,
in
yes, stealing
chaos
stuff.
in
Yeah.
the game. That would be epic. Yes.
Start robbing people in Miami.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, that would work. Getting back on track though, talking about some of the negatives from the gaming awards though. Stuff like, okay, so I enjoyed the award show, but it's always the theatrics that bother me about Jeff Keighley's show. I always call it the Keighley's because it's all about him, right? He always wants to, put his musical style or whatever on stage. This time though, he had like music from games, which made sense. However, it would have been better if they showed like gameplay behind the orchestras or the bands or whatever, so we can actually visualize, the game itself rather than seeing this performance solely based on the music itself. As gamers, we're there for the games anyway, so that would have helped out there. But the biggest drawback, I think, was moments like when he had Gonzo from the Muppets and the chicken, and he's talking to him for a long time, and I'm like, why are we doing this here? First of all, it's not funny. Yeah. Second, you're taking away time from the developers that are accepting awards, and you are rushing those guys off stage. Like as soon as they start talking, you start hearing this music coming in, and even at some points, I remember him saying to, I think to the Naughty Dog developers, to Neil, he said, "Wrap it up." And I'm like, what do you mean wrap it up? Wrap up the Gonzo shit. Wrap up the Muppets. Yeah. Like. That's the kind of stuff we don't want to see. I don't know how you guys feel
unnecessary. About that. It's just kind of like stroking his ego, right? Like he wants to be able to say like, hey, I got the Muppets on my show. Like that's how big of a deal that I am. I got Gonzo over here.
It waters it down for us. And I agree with you. Like that music that kicked in, like first of all, like they went ahead and even the presenting the awards went really quickly, but then on top of it, like the speeches, it was like that music just kicked in right away, and it was like it's like their moment to go ahead and thank everyone. I mean, I do think that it should kick in because a lot of people go ahead and they'll stay up there for 15 minutes if they can, but it did kick in very, very fast. So yes, that was unnecessary, and it kind of waters down the show.
Yeah, no, and then it's like he always has to, like, whenever he can get Kojima, he's always like in love. You see the smoldering eyes that he has for Kojima, and he's just standing there letting him speak forever, and Peele coming out and talking and stuff. And it's like cool. At least that's about a game, right? And it's got its moment. He's a developer. I get it, but the Muppets had no place being there. Timothée Chalamet. Why was he giving out the best game award of the year? What was that about? Like, it made no sense to me.
No idea.
It doesn't. There's again, things.
It's just he wants to be able to say, I had
a celebrity,
this person at my show. That's it. It's just stroking his own ego. He wants to feel like he's a big deal. I'm able to get these people on our show, on my show, and they're showing up because I'm asking. Like, that's all he wants. That's what he wants, because at the end of the day, they had no benefit being there.
No,
to anybody.
I would have loved to have seen what you said, though. When the orchestra is playing, go ahead and show us some of the game, right? That would have been really nice to see.
I would like that. Yeah.
How do you feel about the Alan Wake on Broadway performance?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I didn't care for it. Luckily, I had I was on the Iron Lord podcast with them watching the show and reacting live. So at least we had a lot of laughs and stuff. We were talking about stuff during that time. So it was better than, say, if I was sitting at home alone watching that. I would have been bored to tears at that part. But what I saw from overall the show, it was a better show overall, but there's still those nagging issues that Keighley has. And he's got to get rid of that ego where he's got to bring in these celebrities and he's got to do something grandiose or something for himself. He should think more about the people that are watching. Do they really want to see Muppets talk to me for 5-10 minutes? No, we don't. We want to see the games. And he did a great job.
Especially in the stupidest way, man.
Yeah.
Like they weren't talking about anything that mattered. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different if you got Gonzo to just sit there and talk to you about the last game or the game coming up or whatever. At least it would have been just you're using the personality. Gonzo would have just been any other person they had up there, right? But the fact was that they were just talking some stupid ass nonsense between the two of them.
It's
it was
true.
just not. It was just not necessary, man.
It wasn't.
Didn't make any sense. But how dope? We're talking about music. How dope was the Hellblade music that led into the trailer? That set the stage properly. I think for me, that was.
Which one was the one with the flute guy at the end? I know you guys know who I'm talking about.
No.
The flute guy in the end that was getting into it.
That was like the medley.
Like
towards the end when they were doing the game of the year medley.
Yeah, when they were showing all the.
I didn't mind watching that guy. All right, that guy was incredible.
He was that massive,
the huge wood instrument. I don't know what it was, but man, that guy was just hilarious.
Rocking out.
He killed the flute guy. Remember the flute guy from the PlayStation show back in the day? This was so much better than that guy. It was incredible. But yeah, the music was good, but I would have liked to seen again more gameplay and stuff behind the Hellblade, music and stuff. I think it would have been better. William Lewis, thanks for the super chat. He says, after BG3 won Game of the Year, Larian was supposed to announce that it was dropping on Xbox after the show, but they rushed them off and couldn't announce it. Yeah, that's what I was waiting for too. And I remember that happening and they didn't say anything. And I was like, wait a minute, they were supposed to announce it. But I did see that there was a trailer they played before they won that Game of the Year. And in the trailer, it did say available on Xbox now. But if you're just watching, you can casually miss that. And
especially if it's a trailer for a game that you already like. Who is interested in watching a trailer for BG3, right? Like that's your P break.
We were waiting to hear from them.
All right, let the trailer go.
Yep. Facts.
I do feel like they should have had a little bit more time. I mean, come on, the Game of the Year. If you earn that, like go ahead, let them speak a little bit more. He was out there with his armor on too.
He had a full suit of armor on.
Yes.
And you know how uncomfortable he must have been for 3 hours sitting in that chair with that? I was like, man, this guy's committed. But
yes, he was.
Bunty, thank you very much for the $10 super chat, man. You're amazing. He says, I agree with you, you all about owning all the systems, but why should I pay or own a system that treat you like you don't matter when it comes to customer service? And that's why I got rid of my PlayStation. I can understand that. I can understand people feeling slighted by Sony. Case in point, I work with one of my bosses. He was a big PlayStation fan. He didn't have an Xbox. He didn't like Xbox. Not because he hated Xbox per se, but he was just more of a PlayStation guy. So he always stuck to PlayStation. Now, it took Sony going from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5 and saying, guess what? Your controllers no longer work from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5, especially his really expensive $200 and something scuff controller. Wouldn't work on the PlayStation 5. That's all it took for him to say, F them, I'm going Xbox. And he went to Xbox and never looked back. And I was like, some people are like that, you know?
Stories.
You know, if you slight them and you hurt their pocket, of course people are going to get mad. And they've been doing that a lot to people lately. And it's one of the reasons why I wouldn't tell people, hey, you need to go out and get a PlayStation, blah, blah, blah. If you feel like they're not doing any right by you, by all means, it's your choice. You go with what you want. You know, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. So I
agree.
At this point, it's just habit for me. Just like, oh, new system, buy it. So I have it for the off chance
that something will release that'll be enjoyable for the love of games. But you know, we talk about PlayStation. Nintendo has the same type of like arrogance. They have a direct coming and they tell you 10 minutes before, thinking that you're just going to drop work or whatever you're doing in your life and go ahead and watch it. And they'll tell you about a game and you don't hear about it for 8 years. And you're like,
Mhm.
what happened? Is it canceled? Are they still working on it? They don't feel this need to include the consumer in anything that they do. It's kind of like not a good
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so
Facts.
important though. Like I feel like, Phil does come out here. He talks to everyone. Sarah, they need to go, we need to appreciate that. The fact that they're talking to us and including us in everything that's taking place. And instead of coming at them because something that you heard
Yeah.
may not be necessarily aligned with what you're thinking, like kind of like appreciate the fact that they're at least including you.
Yeah, because if you look, another case here of Xbox listening to the fan base, we got to see a trailer for a game that's not going to be out for a long time, Blade. And just a couple of years ago, they were only about showing a game that might be just a year out, max.
Yes.
They've changed that since because they heard from the fan base, hey, we want to get excited for games just like on the PlayStation side. That's one thing I've always said they do right is they show games way ahead of time and they get people excited for it. And Sony guys will wait for, not even Sony guys, gamers, because I myself will wait for a game like Wolverine for years. And I'm still hyped for it. I said that for years.
That little
Xbox needs to
snippet that
do
they
that.
showed, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And it's the same for
Which, by the way, when you look at that snippet
yeah.
and you look at the graphics that were there, that was not photorealistic looking graphics.
No, it's not photorealism.
Slightly stylized.
But again, so is Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man's slightly stylized, especially when it comes to Miles Morales and his suits and stuff. It looks very cartoony, but it doesn't take away from the game.
Reference to people trying to talk shit about Blade.
Yeah.
I know people are weird, man. Just they can't what it is about Blade right now is let's face it, it's because it's Xbox and they just hate on Xbox and they don't want to see them get a W. But I'm sorry, they pretty much got a W for the entire show the other night. They showed out. What they brought with them really made the show more enjoyable than it would have been without Xbox.
Facts.
So,
I agree.
Especially since like PlayStation literally just had the DLC for God of War,
which was great. I got to give them a W on that. They actually gave something for free to their fan base, and it's true.
But it is a
DLC
major letdown.
I was shocked.
It is a major letdown from what we had anticipated, right? Because if you remember, like the rumors were there was going to be like this standalone DLC for God of War. It's supposed to be next year, and it was supposed to be this big thing. And it turns out it's just that mode that they're releasing for free. It's just like that roguelite stuff. So
yeah,
I mean, that's not a hey, I'm casually okay playing God of War. Let me run and go play this thing. It's like I still didn't even get through it. God of War 1.
Great.
Was
2018 was amazing.
2018 was a great game. It was a little more bloated than I would have preferred towards the end. I wanted to at a certain point I was like, all right,
I can't wait to hear what you think of Ragnarok then if you think that was bloated.
So but that's my problem, right? But I did beat the first one, right? I wanted to get to the end of that story. I wanted to do that. Man, I started Ragnarok. I played it for a while. I don't even know how long I've played it, but I got so like tired of it because it wasn't anything new or unique anymore, right? Like that's to show you how the first one benefited from the fact that it was such a different take on God of War, right? It was the first time they did it that way,
but it was also a good narrative. It was really well done. I thought it was
new and really good. This one, it just really wasn't. The narrative was fine. It was like that loop of the story wasn't engaging. I didn't care. This kid, he only served a purpose in the first game because he was Kratos' son and it made Kratos be a dad. Now he's just like this angry teenager. I get it. He has all this other crap going on. It's not the same story. You know what I'm saying? Like not the same story, not the same level of story. It wasn't this new big thrilling thing that I needed to see
It
through.
lacked excitement. And then, the game did look beautiful. And then he goes and he has this dream about his wife. And then when it goes into that dream, there's a disconnect in graphics when you see her and you're like, wait, hold on. Kind of snapped me out a little bit from what I was previously seeing.
It's like they have different tiers of cutscenes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
they're cutscenes that look beautiful and amazing, and then it's like other cutscene where you're just standing there and it just looks ass. Like it just doesn't look that good. Final Fantasy had the same problem. Final Fantasy 16, same crap.
I had
Parts
a
of that
lot.
look amazing.
And I'm not a fan
And
of
then
Final
other
Fantasy
parts, like, what am I
16. I don't care for the combat, and I think the boss fights being just QTEs is just terrible. Like to me, I like the combat style of Final Fantasy VII Remake way better, and I think they should have just stuck with that for the rest of the Final Fantasy series. 16 just doesn't do it for me. I want to get to this last topic here, but first let me get this. Gamer by Choice, thank you very much. He says, it's hard to listen to gamers because we don't know what we want. Think about 2013. Most of the things Xbox caught flack for is standard now. Yeah, when it comes to like DRM and stuff. Yeah. There's a lot that we were afraid of back then. I myself will admit I was afraid of a digital future. Guess what? I'm all digital now. I don't buy physical games. And part of the reason why is because I found out two things. So I was so worried back then about all that digital future, but then I found out, oh, if I get this digitally, I can share it with my son and I don't need to buy two physical copies of the game. So I was like, wow, this is cool. So we can both play the game without having to swap discs or buy a second disc. So I was like, okay, I'm in on that. And then Game Pass was the other. I love the service. So I love the convenience of it. So I'm a big...
I feel like Xbox has always been kind of like ahead of its time. And CMoney's always been with it. I'm more like you, Fonts, a little bit more hesitant because I like to kind of hold the things I have. Madman, our son, he's like, well, what if the internet's down or whatever. He also likes to have his physical things, but then you go ahead and you enter this digital world and it's just a click and you just click on what you want to put on. And if you are not into it at the moment, because sometimes you're just not in the mood for something that maybe you started to feel like you could be up for, and it's just a click away to get out and go ahead and get back into something else. You don't have to go ahead and open a case, put in the disc, take it out. If you're not it seems like such such a small thing, but it's tedious to do when you learn the new ways, and it's hard to go back to that.
Yeah, it is. And as I get older, I'm sitting here thinking, man, like I don't want to get up and switch discs, like. I just want to hit a button, boom, go to the next game. Like that's it.
Listen, if they can figure out a way, which I think Xbox did figure out that way for the Xbox One, but they had to reverse everything, so it went to shit. What they needed to figure out was a way where if you buy physical, you get the digital version as well. So you don't need to touch the box. You put in the disc, it unlocks it, and then take that register key, right? And you go put it up into a database, right? You put the thing in there, you're online, it gives you the digital version, and now that key is registered online. You try to take that to GameStop to trade it in, they plug it in, like they take they scan it or whatever, it shows that the key's registered to you, they unregister it, and now your digital copy's gone, and then you can sell it. Dope. That would be fire.
Yeah,
I don't want to buy a physical game and just have to keep putting that shit in there. I don't want to.
I'm with you anyway, because even when you buy the physical game, you still got to download,
you still got to do it anyway.
The day one patch, that always happens. Day one patch.
And then there's going to be more patches that you're going to have to download. So the disc means nothing.
Yeah.
And guess what? Digitally, you can't scratch the game. You can't scratch the disc.
That's true.
Have your 4-year-old go and snap it somewhere.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's happened.
By the way, you guys heard of this story, right? Bungie developers are worried of a potential Sony takeover. Now, I was just talking about Bungie last week on my show, talking about what a great deal they got, because it's like they got $3 billion to remain independent, keep all their IP. And wow, that is so awesome for them. But apparently nobody read the fine print over there at Bungie. And it seems like the contract, there's a stipulation there that says that it requires them to reach a certain financial goal. And apparently they are not meeting that goal with Destiny 2. So this could mean Sony can take over and take everything. What do you guys think about that?
Listen, the moment that Phil passed on Bungie, come on, they go ahead and they spend more money than what they bring in. I feel that they went ahead and they made this deal, and this whole time I've been thinking that, you know what, this was the dumbest deal they've made. PlayStation has made, right? Buying
I thought
Bungie.
so too.
Yes, but turns out that Bungie was trying to get PlayStation, and they got. Obviously, they were in need of money. They went ahead, they made this deal. They thought they'll figure out a way around it. They let some people go. They figure the money they got up front will help them get out of the hole that they were in, and then they'll be smooth sailing. Turns out that that's not the situation, and here comes PlayStation ready to take over. But when you go ahead and you see some of the perks that these employees have, such as like knitting time, and that they're cutting, they're cutting back on, you're like, oh my gosh, let's go all work for Bungie.
Wow.
They had a bunch of weird ass shit
so much
for working over there.
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, I think the execs over there, the top guys, they got their money, right? And they looked at the outlook and they said, are we really going to be able to hit these thresholds that Sony has set for us? Or do we just take this money, put it in our bank account, and let Sony take over and call it a day?
I think it's two things. I think Sony and both Bungie, I think they were both overly confident in Destiny and what it would bring them. I really do think they both thought that they would be bringing in more revenue for the game. And that overconfidence is really what is shooting them in the foot right now. And we're going to... One thing that could really happen that scares me, and this scares me for Bungie, because I am a Bungie fan. I like what they bring to the table. I think their gunplay is second to none. I love their gunplay in Destiny. I loved it in Halo. They're really good at making these multiplayer games last. However, what can happen here is if Sony does take over, it could push a lot of those Bungie employees out. They could leave and essentially absolve Bungie and really get nothing for it in the end, because you can have talent leave. Yeah, you may have the IP, you may have the company name, but you're not going to have the talent, and that is scary because Sony doesn't know how to really make
the company.
Yeah, and Sony really doesn't know how to make a multiplayer game be really successful anyway. So that's what's scary there,
right? Like that's basically what happens to them, right? BioWare is the name BioWare, but it means nothing because all the people who made BioWare special are gone.
And why did they leave? Because of an EA buyout, right? EA bought them up.
Of course. And that's the same thing that's going to happen here. Like, listen, those people, you read that report, those people are already miserable, like going into work every day because they're afraid, right? Because they already said that they've been telling them that there's probably going to be more layoffs. So they're afraid going into work every day. Like, is this my last day? Like, how can you perform at your best ability when you're constantly stressed about not having a job? I mean, that is literally like, yo, it blows my mind. These PlayStation dudes, like they're so full of shit because they don't give a shit about anything except for themselves. Because you go ahead, you look at what Phil's doing. You look at what he's doing at Xbox, what he's doing for the developers and studios that he purchases over there. He is giving these people creative freedom. On our channel, I say it a lot, but he's the savior of creativity in the AAA space.
I agree.
Because anywhere else, you go ahead and you try to go too creative and try to go too different or too out there or try to take risk, that could be your last game that you ever make. Look at Immortals of Avium or whatever the hell it is, or Avium's Immortal, whatever the hell it's one that EA came out with.
Yeah.
You know, that studio essentially let go most of the company.
Well, the game,
because the numbers didn't hit.
Yeah, the game wasn't really that great. Ryan Landy's in the chat. He says, sounds exactly like the Xbox argument. I disagree, because with the Xbox, you know, if you're looking at companies that were bought by Xbox, especially the latest, ABK, you had the majority of developers there that wanted to get bought out by Xbox. They voted to get bought out by Xbox. So this is a different case, because we're seeing reports of developers at Bungie like nervous. They are really nervous again, about being taken over by Sony. So I think it's different there.
Sony bought them, and they had to let these people go because Sony doesn't have the money to save them, right? Sony, it took loans to make that to do that buyout. They're still making payments on that shit. Like
it's not just Bungie. We're talking about like a studio like Naughty Dog. They're out there walking out Connie, right? Like they're dissolving all these studios. So what's left? What are they gonna have left, right? And when it comes to ABK, when that deal closed, like Phil said, I'm going to go see the developers. I want to know what they want to do, what they want to make. Come on. That's what they're passionate about.
Ryan,
that's such a big deal.
Yeah. Ryan, I think when it comes to the initiative, I think we have a different problem there altogether. And I could only speculate, but my speculation is that Gallagher, the guy who's in charge of the initiative, I have a feeling, because he came from the studio, Crystal Dynamics, I believe. He worked with them for years and stuff. I believe he pushed that team into making Perfect Dark, and it kind of probably rubbed some people the wrong way, and they left. And I'm not saying that, you know, there's not people that would leave on the ABK side or anything, but this is a different situation altogether with Bungie. This is a situation in that they are going to lose all creative freedom if Sony were to take over. They could potentially lose that. And that is not being taken away from Xbox developers. That's one thing I will say. I'm not a big console war guy, but
creative freedom.
Yeah. And creative freedom is everything, really.
It's been well documented over at the initiative, right? So I would suggest just Googling it, because it's been pretty well documented. When they started that studio, they had a thought of creating a flat, like, executive level. There was no executive level. It was everybody's on the same page, so everybody essentially had the same, you know, power to make decisions, and it all came down to votes. And I think ultimately what happened is that wasn't leading anywhere productive. They were trying something different, and it didn't work, which is fine. You take risks, you take chances, and you see how it goes. And it did not work, so they had to, you know, pull rank, and they brought in Crystal Dynamics. The people who weren't on board with the, you know, more traditional structure of having somebody up charge who's going to make those final decisions got pissed, and they left.
So Ryan Landy says the initiative leader went dark as of June. You know what? I have not looked into the situation, Ryan. I will look more into that, because I can't really speak on the current state of the initiative. I really don't know what's going on there. All I do know is that I've heard that they're still working on Perfect Dark, as they have been. But yeah, I don't know, really, and I don't know if something happened in June. I really don't know. I want to thank, where is it here? JW Universe for becoming a supporter. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you, man. That means a lot. Man. Thank you.
Awesome, brother.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I think that Xbox, this situation with Bungie and Sony is a bit different and more nuanced because of this contract that they have. And it's weird because none of us knew about this at all. We really didn't know about this stipulation, and it's out. We know about it. We know that they're saying they're worried, and at least there's articles being reported on it. And that's really telling. So yeah, you can DM me stuff, Ryan. That's cool. but yeah, that's all we can really say on it. I hope that, Bungie, I really hope that they end up keeping their IP. I hope that they keep creative freedom. I really want to see them excel. I don't want to see them, die like BioWare did, the original team anyway. So yeah, I wish for the best with those developers. We'll see what happens. But now, guys, before we go, I want to play a little game with you guys.
Ready.
Now, this is what I like to call 5 questions.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, this is
Welcome
awesome.
to 5 questions. This is where I will ask you 5 questions, 4 trivia, and 1 subjective at the end. So you could each answer the subjective question. All right. Let me see if I still have
so
my.
cool.
Really
I
dope.
feel like
This
I'm
is
on-
really dope.
Yes.
It's been a while. So I want to see if I have my. Okay, so if you get an answer right, you'll hear this. If you get an answer wrong, you'll hear. Okay, so we got that going. Now I'm going to play you the intense music. All right. This is 5 questions, folks. Number 1. With the announcement of the upcoming Xbox game Blade, can you tell me how many Blade video games total we've got in previous generations? Either of you can answer.
I feel like I only remember the one.
So this will be the second one, is what you're saying?
I yes, because I think I only remember the one. I think the one.
So
was
this
like
is just from previous
2000.
generations. How many have we had?
Yeah. I mean, the question is, did they make one for each movie? Like, did they make a Blade 1, Blade 2?
I'm going with 2.
You think 2? I think 1, but we'll go with your 2.
Oh, we're working.
Correct. 2. You're working in.
Yes.
Oh, Doodle. You see, pull through. We ain't messing around.
Okay, number 2. Arcane Leon is creating the new Blade game. Can you name the other team at Arcane that created Redfall?
Arcane Austin.
Correct. All right, number 3. Can you name the studio that developed the original Crackdown game?
That's all you see.
Oh, man.
The original Crackdown game, many years ago.
You love that game too.
I did love the hell out of that game.
No peeping. No peeping the chat. No peeping anything.
But can we
Oh,
Google
no,
the
no,
answer?
No.
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 That
We're
would
not
be cheating.
I don't believe in cheating.
I'm joking you.
Joking you. Game.
See, come on, you got this.
Crackdown. Damn it.
Oh my God, you hear
Oh!
that? Come on, bro.
You got it. I need an answer.
Oh.
Come on, see. Oh.
Too late.
Who was it? Who was it?
Real-time worlds. Real-time
That was it.
worlds.
I knew it was some crazy shit like that.
Number 4. Ninja Theory are close to releasing Hellblade 2. Can you name the very first game they developed for Xbox?
Kung Fu Chaos.
Correct. Kung Fu Chaos. You got it. I didn't think you'd get that one at all. That's it.
Come on, man.
That's pretty good.
Come
That's
on,
pretty good.
man.
All right. Here's your subjective question. We can turn off the intense music.
All right.
If you had to pick only one game that one of Xbox studios are currently developing to play in the future, which would it be? And remember, you can only pick one of them. The rest of them go away. What game do you know that they're developing now would you want to play?
Why you gotta do that?
Well, this is the thing.
Gotta
This is
make
the
it
thing,
tough.
right? So let me just focus this question a little bit so I can understand. So technically,
It's whatever they're developing.
the new Halo has not been like nobody's saying they're making a new single player Halo.
Yeah, so you can't mention that. That's not one
So
you
that
can pick.
wouldn't be an option.
Look at C trying to lock
Because I
down
gotta
Halo.
make sure, because Halo is always my answer. You know what I'm saying? So I gather. All right, so that's not part of it. So out of everything else that has been
Everything else
announced,
goes, though. You pick one, everything else goes.
well, Halo can't go. Halo's not part of the conversation.
Well, from what it's from
The
No,
what we
of
future
know.
what the
games
new
of the
games are
future
coming.
games. Yeah.
So
So
new
the future
games
Halos
only.
are gone if there was a future Halo.
Oh well, then I would pick whatever new single player Halo, but that's not an option.
No.
So
No.
I would say, based off of my love of Starfield,
And I'll
it
let you
is
both pick.
announced that they're working on Elder Scrolls 6. So
Oh,
I'm gonna go with Elder Scrolls 6.
I love that answer. I'm going to give you that one because I have the power to say no or you know you got it or not because yeah, it's my show. Doodle, do you have one?
Oh, man. Hmm. From any upcoming games.
Any
From
upcoming
Xbox
games that
Studio.
you know about? Yeah.
I'm gonna keep and let everything else go. Just because I claim that you know what I claim, see, I don't like these games that kind of mess with your mind, but I freaking love them. I'm gonna keep Hellblade 2.
All right.
That will be my keeper.
All right. Good job, guys. You got 4 out of 5 right. That's awesome. Congrats.
This was awesome.
Now,
Thank you. That was dope.
Thank you
I
yeah,
love
so
that.
so when you
much.
get in the hot
Stand
seat,
and
you got to be
stuff.
putting the, you know, you got to play the game show. I love the
I
whole
love it. I love the
80s
music
aesthetic.
too.
So that's why
Yeah,
I
you
do
did
all
a
that.
great job with
Yes.
it. That shit was dope. Thank you
Yeah,
so
it's
much.
something
That
I've
was
been
awesome.
doing for a long time, and I've missed doing it. But I've had 2 guests on at once, and it doesn't work if they're not playing in tandem. Like it just doesn't work.
Yes.
I loved it. This was
This is
awesome.
dope. I feel I'm honored that we got to be part of
I
the
know.
game coming
Hey,
back a
you
little
did,
bit.
and you did
That's
really
dope.
well. 4 out of 5, which is some of the top people here. You know, haven't even got 4 out of 5. So did really well.
Nice.
Did really well there. All right.
Awesome.
So
Thank
now
you.
we're at the end of the show, guys. I want to thank everybody out there for coming by, but I especially want to thank CMoney and Doodle. I want you guys
Thank
to
you
tell
so
everybody
much for having us.
tell everybody where they can find you, even though I have it in the description of this video down below.
Well, I'm on X, Doodle to be free. Doodle, the number 2, letter B, in free, and CMoney. Take on the rest.
Yeah, so on Twitter, I'm CMoney Forever or X. We have a YouTube channel. It's called OnPoint for Gamers. We do 4 shows a week. So definitely come check us out. We have a morning show on Mondays. We start the week off 9:30 a.m. Eastern time with Morning Quests with Doodle and CMoney. And you know, we start the week off right, talking gaming, talking whatever news broke since our last show, and we just have a good time. Tuesdays are our big one. It's our guest show. It's called Her, Him, and a Guest, which our homie Fonz was a guest of ours. Essentially
Amazing
10 weeks
interview.
ago. He dethroned King. He was just dethroned by our last guest, which was Randall Thor 19. He was there on Tuesday. So if you haven't watched that, I suggest you go.
Oh, who
Got
was
to,
that?
you know,
Randall
as
Thor?
Jake,
Randall Thor?
Randall Thor
The
19.
man
That's
with
right.
the million.
That guy? Yeah.
Man with the million. And you know, obviously, you know, you heard Jay. Our show is a little different where we talk more about the person behind, you know, the content. So there are some, you know, little deeper questions that Rand, you know, wasn't expecting to be answering. So definitely go check that out.
Nice.
And then we have our main podcast that we do, the gaming, it's called OnPoint, the gaming podcast. It's Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely come check us out. This particular week, we have a big one. We have our community blowout podcast. So it's going to be 8 members from our community up live on the show with us. And we're going to be talking all things gaming, but with our homies, and it's going to be great.
Awesome.
And then normally we finish the week with on Fridays with On Point Anime and Beyond, where we talk anime, movies, TV, all that fun stuff. But definitely come, you know, check us out. You know, I know a lot of you guys in the chat already, but if you don't know us, come check us out. You know, it's a fun time. It's a fun time. We're about 130 subscribers away from hitting 13.5. I'm sorry, 11.5. I just skipped two.
You just skipped.
I skipped all types of numbers from 11.5. So we would definitely love for you guys to come check us out and subscribe and come hang with us. It's a fun time.
Awesome.
Fonz, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank
brother.
you both for
amazing.
coming by. I had a great time with you guys, and I'll have you guys on again in the future, of course. It was really awesome. Until next time. Until I say that, I just want to say shout out to everybody out there who watched this live today and everybody listening after the fact, because got listeners over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that listen to the show. But you need to swing by here sometime and see all the little things that I got going on here. You know, all the little special effects and stuff. When I do the 5 questions and stuff, it's pretty fun.
It's pretty amazing.
Anyways,
very well done.
With that said, I want to thank you two very much for coming on today. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, guys, game on.